Hi everyone, how have you all been? Hope you had a great week. Can you all hear me clearly? I feel like I should ask this now because it's twice it happened where I've started a stream and you guys couldn't hear me in the microphone for some reason. Oh, has someone watched Godzilla vs. Kong for the 6th time? Or Godzilla X Kong in the chat, it seems. Yen Rai says, yep, just rewatch Godzilla X Kong for the 6th time. Love finding new details every time. Oh, cool. The very impressive thing about Godzilla X Kong is that it was only made on a $130 million budget. And the Marvels cost twice as much. And again, I don't know where the money went. I'm actually seeing some good, some very good budgeting going on here and there. Hopefully it gets better in Hollywood. I hope they do even better jobs with that. The Logman, that'll be a question for later, maybe. Not right now. That's a bit too early. We've got a lot of other more interesting stories to talk about, as you will soon see. So yes, now first of all, who of you said that? It was Yen Rai says, hello Eric, hope you're doing better as always, mate. Yeah, I'm doing better, but it is still weird, because I've actually still got like remnants of the flu left, not in the typical ways. The cough is still there, so when I start doing voiceovers, I cough, so I still am very slow at my voiceovers, so I'm not fully recovered. At the same time, though, my energy just drops, my energy levels. So I was going to do this live stream about an hour ago, or an hour and a half ago now. No, it was an hour ago, actually, yeah. And I was like, I felt like I could not come show my face to you guys on the camera because I would have just felt like just lying my arms down on my desk right here. So my energy levels are just so unpredictable. They just go up to normal and then they just drop right down and I want to lie down and just have a nap. So it's weird. And as you can tell, my eczema is getting better, but it's still here. So yeah, I've still got some cuts on my fingers, so that's painful. But yeah, I've got the stream going, and we have some good stuff to talk about today. I'm sorry if I'm saying this wrong. Aceriptic, I think is what it is. Do you think the Thunderbolts will succeed? No, I don't. I think it will be one of those movies where people are just not interested. Yeah, Mr. Movie Man, it probably will take some time to heal. Okay, so we're just going to wait for some more people to get onto the stream before we move on to the stories. But yeah, so some of you guys are asking me if I've seen some movies in the theater. Yeah, I still haven't. I will maybe in about, hopefully this upcoming week. I'm hoping I can feel better because then I'm going to spend a whole day in the cinema and probably go out, get a bite to eat and stuff like that, because I've just been inside for weeks now. I've popped out local and gotten some shopping and errands and things, but I haven't actually gone out to have time to myself and enjoy myself. I've gone out for walks and things, but haven't really done any activities. So hopefully I can catch up on a few of those movies in that month. So yeah. Yeah, the movie King 3000, they did confirm that Daredevil Born Again just wrapped. And that wrapped quick, didn't it? From when they canned what they were doing first, and then they says, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to rewrite it, and they rewrote it very quickly, and this is during the strikes as well. And then they says, okay, we're going to shoot the new scripts now. And now they're finished already. And apparently this Daredevil Born Again is going to be split into 2 seasons. They say it's a 2-part or some BS. It seems like they're just splitting it into 2 seasons. I don't know why. Maybe they blew a lot of their budget the first time and then they had to can that season. So I don't know. But yeah, it's just really, quite frankly, ridiculous what they're doing with Daredevil. I feel like the fact they've shot it so quickly, it's just makes me think, did they put the time and effort into it? Are the scripts even that good if those scripts were written so quick and they shot it so quick? And it makes me think, are they only going to have 6 episodes? In which case, if they have 6 episodes and they split that into 2 seasons, for those of us that watch the Netflix Daredevil, we're going to be annoyed because we know that Daredevil is normally 13 episodes. So it's like, well, why didn't you just shoot all 13 and release them? or 12 and release them, as opposed to just doing 6 at a time. We'll have to see what they do, but like I say, I don't have any confidence in them at all. Yes, I did see the new set photos of John Bernthal. I hope and apparently Jessica Jones is going to be in there as well. I hope they're not just doing a big ensemble for no reason. It's called Daredevil, you know. You gotta make sure that for Daredevil, it's a show that basically revolves around Daredevil. I thought his show, Season 3, was the best because it was a standalone show. Season 1, then Season 2, and then even the Defenders. It's not as good when I think he has those other people around, but unfortunately they're just trying to force an Avengers thing, it seems like. But yeah, and yeah, one of you said that apparently it's going to have Kevin Feige jokes in there. I bloody well hope it doesn't, because I will show them no frickin' mercy with for every single crappy joke they do. The humor in Daredevil is just seamless and great. If they make the humor shit, I'm going to get pissed off. And I'm just going to basically call Kevin Feige out every single time. So it's in his best interest to not be screwing around here. But look what he did with the new Silver Surfer casting, so... But let's not get ahead of ourselves. It most likely will be graphic, Jess. Well, I say graphic, it'll probably be rated R. Or at least Marvel's version. And if we saw Echo, we know they don't know how to do a R rating. Although, did you hear that, who was it? It was Colin Farrell who says that he said that he was genuinely shocked and surprised with how dark and bloody and violent they got with the Penguin show. He goes, if it was released in cinemas, he said, it will be a hard R, he said. So, that's exactly what I expect from DC. I expect them to be, you know, good at doing the R rating. I don't expect that from the MCU. So... Yeah, the TVA does require Normie to do some homework. I know enough of what they're supposed to be, so that's it for me, personally. Alright then, so, let's talk about our first story of the day, which is going to be... Ozark star Julia Garner cast as Silver Surfer in Marvel's The Fantastic Four. Now, quickly, I just want to quickly say, before we go back to this story, I just want to quickly say, as always, I'm not going to be able to answer your questions when I'm telling these stories. So what I'm going to be doing is I'll glance at the chat, but if you want me to answer a question right now, it's got to be either done via the Super Chats or via Streamlabs, which I've done a link and I've pinned at the top of the comment section. That's the only way that you're going to be able to get a question from me while I'm telling these stories. Alright, so with that said, and Tanner, I will be doing the Puss in Boots video. I've just been sick since the beginning of March, and I've not been able to do any work, so yeah, that's... when I get better, I'll try to get to doing that, but yeah. Alright, so, back to the story. Alexa, shut up. My Alexa went off if you heard what that was right there. Okay, now, it had been rumored for quite a while... Get rid of these notes here. It had been rumored now for quite a while that that Marvel were going to do a gender-bent Silver Surfer, and it turned out to be true. Marvel have gender-swapped the Silver Surfer, and why? I mean, just why? They know people are not going to like this. Now, it's not a typical... It's technically not a typical gender swap. But it doesn't, because, you know, this character actually is supposed to be from the comics, even though she's had, like, next to no role. She was just there. But it doesn't matter. We are not getting the Silver Surfer as we want it and know it. And they are giving us a version of the character that wasn't... They're giving us a version of the character that was a nobody in the comics. And it's a character that none of us want. The female version. She apparently doesn't have a character in the comics, from what I've heard people say. They say she's barely in it, and she's there for only an image or two. Very vague, and they decided to put her into the movie to have the role of the Silver Surfer. It's so ridiculous. Now, if you want to know their thought process for doing this, then look no further than all those rumors we heard about them wanting to gender bend the Thing. I mean, now this is what she's playing, by the way. Now, do you remember when all those rumors were coming out that they were trying to gender bend the Thing and turn him into a female? And first people were like, is this true? Is it not? It turns out it was true. They were trying to gender bend the thing because they were trying to make the movie diverse. So they were trying to force it in ways that no one would want. So, like I said, those rumors turned out to be true, but in the end, that didn't happen. So they ended up gender bending the Silver Surfer instead. So the whole excuse that what Marvel are trying to do, and they're putting out there in the media, very deviously, they're trying to put the info out there saying that this is a different Silver Surfer. This is Shala Ball, or whatever the fuck her name is. That whole argument is just bullshit. If you ask me, that was a last second thing that they did. Because I bet you that Marvel said, let's quickly see if there is a female Silver Surfer before we put this announcement out. So we can say that we're adapting that rather than gender bending him. When really, they were gender bending him the whole time. It wouldn't surprise me if that is the conversation they had. And it is painfully transparent that they're just trying to play it innocent when really they know what they're doing. They just wanted another woman in the movie because they thought there was too many guys in there, which is ridiculous because didn't they just see the Marvels where there was a lot of women in there? So they have no problem when there's a lot of women, but they have a problem when there's more guys. It just shows what they're doing. They just wanted another woman in the movie and decided to gender bend one of the male characters to do it. And let me just tell you this, guys. Just remember, the last time they did a gender swap for a villain, they gave us female Taskmaster in Black Widow, and we all know how much of a failure that was. It was a failure in the same way that Deadpool was in X-Men Origins Wolverine. Now, the Silver Surfer I thought was fantastic in Rise of the Silver Surfer. I thought it was really good how they managed to get the voice and the performer who did the motion capture and everything. It was phenomenal work, I think, what they did. And Marvel, like I said, it's like for some reason they thought, oh, we've got 3 male members of the Fantastic Four and 1 female, Sue Storm. We've also got the Silver Surfer, who's a guy. That's too many men in the movie. We gotta make another woman. But it's like, did they forget that with the Marvels, they had 3 female superheroes in there, and then they had a female villain. And they didn't think there, okay, we gotta add a male villain in there. They just said, no, we're gonna do a female villain. But when it's like the shoe is on the other foot, and you got guys in there, all of a sudden it's like, no, there's too many guys, we gotta add more women in there. It's just ridiculous. It's like a double standard they've got. And also, on top of that, as well as having that double standard, what was the point I was going to bring up? I just lost it. Darn it. Give me a second. Yeah, this was it. As well as having a double standard and saying we're going to put another female character in there, even though we wouldn't do that with the male characters, they also have apparently said that Sue Storm is going to be the female lead of the movie, and also, from what I've heard, this Silver Surfer is also going to be one of the big characters, like one of the leads that they're really going to try to develop. I keep hearing that, and it's like, well, what are you going to do with the actual Fantastic Four? I mean, are we going to get the Fantastic Four all being developed, or is this really just one of those things where they're trying to say, push the Fantastic Four off to the side, and we're going to just develop Sue Storm and this female Silver Surfer? Because when you come out of a movie that's called the Fantastic Four, you're not supposed to come out of the movie thinking Sue Storm. You're supposed to come out of the movie thinking the Fantastic Four, and then you can pick who your favorite character is, and you can have conversations about it. But this looks like just another one of the situations where it feels like Marvel are just trying to force in their gender politics in there. Because we all know that with those reports that came out, that, like I said, they were trying to find a female The Thing, but then and that turned out to be a true rumor. It turns out that was actually happening behind the scenes. So, yeah, we all know. They can try to say, oh no, we had this idea. No, this is all about them trying to gender swap, force a female character in there. Even though they've got good ones there already, it's like, focus on the ones you have. Know what movie you have. Because when I see this, I see the decision making that made, the idiots at Marvel go about doing a Blade movie where he was relegated to the 4th lead and 3 females were the main characters instead of him, and they were and they were going to be giving him life lessons and overshadowing him throughout the whole film. It's just ridiculous. Let's see. The Movie King. The Movie King 3000 has done a $5 donation. Thank you very much for the donation, buddy. I appreciate it. Says, hey Eric, it's now confirmed that Ayala... Oh man, I'm going to butcher this. Aylat Zura? I would sincerely apologize for that. The old actor that played Vanessa in the Netflix Daredevil show will now return, replacing the replacement. Why did they get a replacement anyway, though? It makes no sense. Like, what are they doing down there? Complete clown show. Anyway, and not having Karen Foggy originally, that's good to hear, but I'm looking at it and I'm like, what is wrong with you in the first place for changing her at the start? Yeah, the Time Shadow, I heard that Marvel had changed their mind about a female Silver Surfer too, that they were going to hire an actor. Turns out they didn't. They still were going to do the same thing. So yeah, what are your guys' thoughts on this? I think this is just... Quite frankly, it's like, does Kevin Feige just hate his fan base? Because at this point, it feels like it's like they're doing it on purpose. They know that there's going to be a backlash. They know there's going to be a big backlash for this, but it's like they don't care. They decide to do it anyway. And it's not fair on the actress they hire or the actresses that they hire. It's not fair on the fans. It's not fair even on, say, the source material that they're adapting from. It's just, who is this movie for at that point? It's like, are you just deliberately trying to, like, just cause a stir out there? Because look at this. James Gunn, the last 2 great MCU projects, well, sorry, the last great MCU project and an upcoming great MCU project is Guardians of the Galaxy 3 and Deadpool and Wolverine. Guardians of the Galaxy 3 was a James Gunn movie through and through. And James Gunn was the one that was managing and wrote that and everything. And Deadpool and Wolverine is a Ryan Reynolds film that him and Hugh Jackman are helming. What is Kevin Feige doing? Those 2 films are from, like I said, James Gunn, Ryan Reynolds, and Hugh Jackman. Kevin Feige is just doing this shit. He's doing this. He had done Echo recently. Daredevil Born Again, which actually did have to get Born Again. They had to scrap all that money they spent, the 9 episodes they shot, to do more. Batman's Game One. They were going to have Karen Foggy killed. Not in 3 episodes. In the first episode, apparently. They're just doing so much of this shit that I'm looking at. And I just don't know what they're playing at this point. It's like they want... It's like they want to, like, just cause a stir and then play the victims afterwards. But at this point, I think people are just tired of it. Marvel basically need to give people reasons as to why they should stick around and care. And the Fantastic Four and X-Men was basically Marvel's best chance at starting again. And them making the same mistakes that they've done before, it feels like they're just... It's like they're sabotaging themselves. There is no way that the MCU will succeed if they continue doing the same mistakes. And that's all I see. Steve Lee has done a $7 super chat. Thank you very much, buddy. I appreciate that. Battlestar Galactica had Starbuck become a white woman from a white man. Boomer, an Asian woman from a black man. Ty, a white man from a black man. I've not seen Battlestar Galactica, so I can't, like, validate that and give you my thoughts on it. But if that is what you say, that sounds bloody ridiculous as well. They're just forcing all of this stuff. George Phillips, it's funny that you say you're watching the first Incredibles, because I just made mention of the first... I was going to make mention of the first Incredibles. Incredibles was a movie that did a great job in terms of presenting your Fantastic Four. Because that's what people said. They say that the Incredibles is like the Fantastic Four movie that we should have got, but we never did. And if you look at the Fantastic Four in that movie, essentially, if you want to, like, let's just call them a Fantastic Four for argument's sake, you got Mr. Incredible and Elastigirl who are introduced in the movie. You've then seen them retired, and then you see their kids, and you see their kids using their powers at school in ways which kind of gets them in trouble, particularly Dash. And then as the movie goes on, Mr. Incredible gets brought back into the fold, then his wife Elastigirl gets brought back into the fold, and then the two kids get brought into the superhero fold. They did a phenomenal job of including all of those characters and making all of them memorable, to the point that when the movie was over, you didn't think, oh, Mr. Incredible. You thought The Incredibles. And you could each pick your favorite character and why you enjoy them so much. But if you look at what they're doing with this Fantastic Four, where they're trying to make Sue Storm the lead, and then they're also going to try to make this female Silver Surfer the lead as well, from what I've heard, it's like, by the end of the movie, it's like they want people to think Invisible Woman, Sue Storm. They don't want them to think of the other characters. It's just ridiculous. It really is. Oh, Jacinda, Brad Bird actually said that his inspiration was the Fantastic Four. Huh, cool, that's interesting. Aritra says, am I going to see Monkey Man? Sorry, I'm not going to see that. I've not heard good things, and I've got a lot of stuff I need to catch up on already, so I'm not going to spend time watching other movies that I could just skip. Oh, I'm doing great, Muhammad Yusuf. Thank you for showing up on the stream. Even though you called It's Me you're called Reviews, aren't you? Or It's Me Reviews before, but you're using your uncle's phone, did you say? Yeah, no problem. It's great to see that you were able to drop by into the stream. Oh wow, quite a lot of you have joined in on the stream now. Good to see all of you in. Last when I was checking, there was only about 30 of you. So yeah. Let's see. So yeah, what are your guys' thoughts on this? I think this is just sabotage. It's like Marvel only have one more chance to basically try to win their audience back, and that is with the Fantastic Four and the X-Men. Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman are doing a great job with the X-Men, but when Marvel move on to their own X-Men, I feel like they're going to be making the same mistakes that they've been making already with this Fantastic Four movie. It's like they're just repeating the same mistakes, and they're not learning. It's like Feige is just an idiot at this point, and I would say that to him. This is not me saying it to his back. I would actually say it to him and put it out there that Kevin Feige, at this point, you're being an idiot, and you're being insincere to your fan base. You've already lost them, and you're supposed to be winning them back, but instead you're doing this, which makes people just even more fed up with you. So yeah, Feige's gonna probably try to take credit for the Deadpool and Wolverine movie. And I'm sure he'll. But basically, it's not going to work. We'll all know that he's not to thank for that. That's Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman, who really value those characters and care about them and want to do the best with them. But if it was Kevin Feige, he would just do what his idiot moves have been, and he would have found ways to screw it up. Maybe make them the third or fourth leads. Bloody ridiculous. Crazy Cat Lady has done a $5 super chat. Thank you very much. I always say to you guys, these super chats help a great deal. So thank you very much. I love the old Silver Surfer movie and Crisis on Infinite Earth Part 2. Will Friedle in it as Terry McGinnis, like it the old show. Yeah, those were great. Terry McGinnis. And the old Silver Surfer from Fantastic Four 2, I loved that Silver Surfer as well. I thought they did a phenomenal job. You could say what you want to say about the movie, but I thought they did a phenomenal job with the Silver Surfer in this film. And yeah, it's a shame that they're just going to go around gender bending the male characters. It's like, why do you gender bend the male characters? They're never going to gender bend the female characters. Tell me, guys, have we seen one female character gender bent to a male? I haven't seen it. Batman's Gamer has done a $10 super chat. Thank you very, very much, buddy. Says, you know what I think? I believe ever since Stan Lee passed away, Kevin Feige and Disney saw the opportunities to do whatever the hell they want with Marvel, because the other movies weren't so bad. But now, yeah, I agree with you. That could definitely have been one of the things that decided to make them do it. But at the same time, I don't know if they would have listened to Stan Lee. I think if they wanted to, they would have done it regardless. I think the timing was just perfect to where they wanted to start doing all this dumb shit, this insincere stuff, and Stan Lee just happened to pass away. I think even if he was alive, Kevin Feige, with the big ego that he seems to have, he would have the audacity, I think, to just go ahead and do it anyway in front of Stan Lee and not care. The super chats are messing up my keyboard. It's so bad. What do you mean, Batman's Gamer? Let me know what you mean by that. Fireboy says, "Hi Eric, how you doing today?" I'm doing better, but I'm still undergoing the illness because I was supposed to do this live stream an hour ago. Well, an hour before I was an hour before I did, but my energy levels just keep spiking. They go high up and then they just go right back down. Like, it's irritating. Yeah, they are. Where is your message gone? Spirit Hero. Yes, they are at this point. F the MCU at this point, says Parker CS. Yeah, I agree, because it's like they're trying to cause trouble within the fan base, and this is something that's all on them. This is not on the fan base. The fan base want to see the movies, and Marvel are giving them less reason to see it. I don't trust them, quite frankly. I haven't seen Dune Part 2. Like I said, I've still been recovering, so... George Phillips says, why do they gender bend it again? Because Hollywood, I think there's people in Hollywood that are under the delusion that they are actually good people, and they think we're fighting for the little guy, even though you can see what's going on in Palestine and how they're supporting that, so they're not supporting the little guy there, and they're also not supporting the little guy in terms of their writers, in terms of not paying them, and they're also not supporting the little guy in terms of the Uyghur Muslim concentration camps in China. So, yeah, they seem to be under the delusion that they're sticking up for the little guy, but they're not. Just look at those 3 examples I gave, and that's just 3. Rohan, the only thing you've missed is me talking about my current state, my illness that I've got so far, the current state of that, and also we're talking about the gender bent Silver Surfer, who they say is not gender bent, but who are we kidding? They wanted to gender bend the Thing originally, and then to a woman. It turned out that didn't work, so now they decided to do it to Silver Surfer, and they says, oh, let's just put that little excuse out there that this is based on that other character from the comics, the female Silver Surfer, who was only in there so briefly. We're basing it off of her, but why would you base it off of her? It's such a boring character to base it off. Godzilla was really good, saw it last week. That's good, The Book of Dark. I need to still see it. Like I said, when I get better, give it about a week, maybe, or maybe this upcoming week. Hopefully then I can go and just have a day out of watching movies. There's another one, Batman's Gamers. Yeah, I forgot about that. Silencing Mark Ruffalo for speaking out about Palestine. That's what it is. Hollywood is hypocritical. They seem to think that they're standing up for the little guy, but they're not. They're squashing it. They are the very people that are making it harder for the little guy, but they seem to be under the delusion that they're making things better. And people can see right through it. What are your opinions on the Silver Surfer character, says the G Gamer. I like the Silver Surfer character. I was introduced to him through the Fantastic Four Rise of the Silver Surfer movie. And I loved what they did with the voice. I loved what they did with the performer they got to do his motion capture. It was phenomenal. It's just a shame that they didn't follow in those those footsteps. This is something that we can say right now at this stage, that the Tim Story movie did infinitely better than the MCU movie. Already we can say that. Muhammad Yusuf says, will you ever bring back 3-minute reviews? I don't know. I've got a game show which I'm still developing on my Patreon, but I don't think I'll be bringing back 3-minute reviews. It took so long, like so many hours to make a video. It took me a whole week basically, to play the game, record the footage, go through the footage, and then to write the script, edit the video, get in all the thoughts, everything I wanted to say in 3 minutes. It was hard and tricky, but it was fun. But in the end, no one ended up watching. Not enough people ended up watching it, I think. So that's why I cancelled it. Robin gives also a great example, as well as firing Melissa Barrera speaking out for Palestine. Yeah, they fire her. And she's of the Latino demographic as well. Someone they've been trying to say, look, we're making movies for, we're standing up for. And they said that what she said was hate speech, which it wasn't. What they did was a hateful act by firing her. So yeah, they're hypocrites. And I did see Breaking Bad. I did not see Ted Lasso. But I saw Breaking Bad years ago. I did remember enjoying it, even though the pacing would go up and down so often. Yeah. Vilka says, I get that movie studios want to make money, but wouldn't they make more money by trying to please the fan base and listen to the fans more often instead of forcing feminism, woke stuff, and etc.? Yeah, they will, and they can. There's examples of movies that have done better. Like, you're going to see Deadpool and Wolverine as an example of a movie that's going to make a lot of money. Guardians of the Galaxy 3 did end up making a lot of money as well. You know, there's a lot of great movies out there that are making the money, but for some reason, Marvel should be looking at the Marvels, for example, what happened, and say, yeah, this whole thing, this forced diversity thing is just not working. But they're not paying attention to that for some reason. They're not learning from their lessons. So, yeah. Oh, you did mean the Sky Dragon's sad blue robot the last time. I thought I was just misinterpreting that. Okay, then, it's good that I got it right. It is, because you didn't spell Slifer. Maybe you did. Yeah, it's alright. Now I know. Muhammad Yusuf says, seriously, this gender bend is almost as bad as Fan 4 Stick. Yeah, it is. Jess says, Kevin Feige is the type of guy that would turn the MCU movies into a preschool kids film with jokes. Well, he already kind of has. Did you see Thor Love and Thunder? And did you see She-Hulk? Did you see Miss Marvel? Did you see The Marvels? Yeah, Rohan, the main silver is Norrin Red. But yeah. Parker Finn, director of Avengers 5. Who's that? Yeah, they do need to fire Kevin Feige at this point. He's just dragging it down. He really is. He's not... I don't see the benefit to Kevin Feige being there anymore. I mean, seriously, if you guys see a benefit, let me know. I've heard people, like, we used to say that Kevin Feige is a fan himself, but why is he making all these choices that the fans don't like? And if he's also a fan, he seems to, like, he keeps telling these writers, apparently, do not read the comics. There was a video on Twitter that went around, I think about a month ago or something. On Twitter, they basically said, they did a compilation video of showing all these interviews of the last several MCU projects, movies and shows, and on the interviews, the showrunners and the directors would say that and the writers would say, we were told not to look at the comics. Feige is like a fool at that point. It's like, if he's not pointing them to the comics to look at, or they're not allowed to look at the comics, then he's a frickin' fool. It's like, what are you even doing there at this point? Yeah, Feige is just... It's quite... his profession right now, how he's handling himself professionally, is an embarrassment. He's a clown, as far as I'm concerned. Well, don't be scared, Fireboy. At this point, just assume it's going to be bad. And then you won't be as disappointed. Because I could go on a louder rant about this, but I knew Marvel would do some stupid shit like this. And they have. It's Nikki says, I actually find the OG Fantastic Four movies fun. I do too, because I was very young when I watched them. I was like 9 or 10 when I saw Fantastic Four, the first one. And I was 12 when I saw the second Fantastic Four movie. And that was the first movie I saw in the cinema on my own. And it was certainly an experience. I was scared at first going on my own. And then it was fun. Yeah, Eamon Clark. I agree that they understood the Silver Surfer much better in the Tim Story movie than the MCU movie. That's the thing, Elite. You said they need to get someone who is actually a fan of the Marvel comics, and Kevin Feige is supposed to be a fan. But it's like you wouldn't even think he is now. He's just making stupid decisions. I don't know if it could be as bad as Fan 4 Stick, the G-Gamer, but if it is, I'd be a little surprised if it actually was as bad as that. That movie was just a complete disaster. Rohan, I think I did. Eric is not what you think. The female Silver Surfer is Shala Ball in the Fantastic Four. Is in a different universe. May just be that the Silver Surfer in the MCU could be of male. No. Do not buy that bullshit. I already talked about that. You probably weren't here when I talked about it. That is complete and utter garbage. Because, look, we heard the rumors that Marvel were looking to gender bend the Thing into a woman. And people looked into it with their inside scoopers, and it turns out that, yeah, that was true. They were trying to do it, and they were struggling to find a way to make the movie diverse. So then they decided, in the end, not to do it with the Thing, and now, conveniently, the Silver Surfer is gender bent. So what does that mean? It means they wanted to gender bend someone for the sake of gender bending them, because they wanted to say, let's put more, there's too much men in here, we can't do that, let's put an extra woman in here. So how should we do that? Let's gender bend the Thing. They actually were going to try to do that, and then they found out in the end, no, they can't do it. So what they did is they said, alright, let's gender bend another character. And they gender bent the Silver Surfer. And I said this, I bet you they said, before we put this info out there, let's quickly say we based it on a character from the comics, just so people can not get mad. But it's like, no, we know what their intentions were. Their intentions were to gender bend a character. They tried to do it with the Thing, it didn't work, so they did it with the Silver Surfer. This whole Shala Ball, whatever the F her name is, it's all bullshit. It's all just a way to say, see, this is why we did it. It's like, no, we know why you did it. You were going to try to do it with the Thing, and then you did it with the Silver Surfer instead. How dumb do you think we are, Kevin Feige? We're not that dumb. So if anyone says that to you, that, oh, it's supposed to be Shala Ball, the Silver Surfer might be out there, that's all said, that's all PR speak. It's just said for PR. We all know they were trying to gender bend the Thing. That didn't end up happening, so now they gender bent another character. It's got nothing to do with the fact that, oh, she was in the comics. That sounds more like an excuse they made at last minute to try and justify their gender bend. And remember, like I said, the last time they gender bent a character, we got, what was the name? The last time they tried to gender bend a character, we got... Oh, I hate when that happens. You get a brain fart. I already mentioned the name. We got Taskmaster. The last time they tried to gender bend a character, and that character was as accurate. That character was as accurate as Deadpool was in X-Men Origins Wolverine. That was pathetic. All right, let's see. Oh wow, Jake has entered the chat. Oh, hi buddy, how have you been? And Jake is at it again with these super generous donations. A $70 donation. Jake, thank you so much for the constant support. I really appreciate it. I love how you create a stir in the chat every time you donate these large sums. Spirit Hero's like, he's here. Jake is at it again, bruv. Jake, bro. Yeah, I love it. I always love what you do in the chat. So, let's read your super chat. I am the Sky Fugel. Anyways, you have any movies you like but everyone else hates? We all have some. By the way, I feel like some people think the R rating automatically means the movie is good. Not every film needs a ton of gore. I agree. For example, I said Echo. I got my Let's Binge Watch coming up. It's a video that I recorded a while back. But when I got the flu, my editing slowed down. But it's going to be uploaded hopefully tomorrow or the day after. But yeah, Echo was a show that I said in the Let's Binge Watch video that it didn't even need to be rated R or TVMA. It could have been a PG-13 and they could have told the exact same story. So your story needs to be elevated to an R-rated story. That's what you need to do if you want to tell an R-rated story. Like Logan did that, Deadpool did that. I feel like, bizarrely, the Batman did that. Even though it was PG-13, it was right on the cusp of being rated R. In fact, here in the UK, it was rated R. It got our equivalent R rating. So, yeah, I agree with you, Jake, in that regard. And it's exactly why I think that the new Craven movie looks like it's not going to work. Not just because it's a Sony movie, but it's like, who wanted an R-rated Craven movie? We wanted an R-rated Venom movie, but they didn't do that. Heck, even Morbius could have been an R-rated film, but they didn't do that either. Now, in terms of the question that you asked, Jake, do I have any movies that I like but everyone else hates? Ghost Rider to me is a guilty pleasure, the first one, which is why I was looking so forward to seeing the second one, because the first was a guilty pleasure to me, and I was almost going to watch it in the theatre, because IGN at the time, when I was new to YouTube and all that, they said it was a great movie and they couldn't wait to see it again. I was glad, so I was so close to watching the movie in the theatre, but I didn't for some reason or another. And then I watched the movie at home, and I was so glad I did not see it in the theatre. What a shitty movie, and IGN gave it a positive score. And that review that they did is nowhere to be found now. They took it down. I wonder why. And, Yeah, so Ghost Rider is one, and also these two Fantastic Four movies from Tim Story. The first Fantastic Four and the second. I've always enjoyed those films. I was younger when I saw it. I loved the cast. I liked the camaraderie they had, the personality, the interactions they had. And I also really, really, really enjoyed the tone of those two movies. And the soundtrack, the music for both films, I thought was great. The main Fantastic Four theme, I love it. Thank you again, Jake, so much for your super chat. It was, like I say, these super chats really do help. Jacinda says, I can't wait for your Echo binge watch video. Yeah, it's coming out. Batman's Gamer says, Patreon or YouTube binge watch? It's my classic Let's Binge Watch video. On Patreon, it's Let's Watch, where you get a more detailed video from me. But Let's Binge Watch is the typical one that you see on YouTube. I will be uploading that soon. Rohan says, I love the video that you mentioned all the big level Thanos villains that got transformed into bitches. I love that video, and that's 4 times you said the F word. Did I say it here 4 times, or are you saying overall I said it 4 times? Yeah, Fireboy, I can imagine Superman Legacy will be far better than that Fantastic Four movie. I thought it was competition next year. That, oh, look, we're going to get a Fantastic Four movie, and we're going to get a Superman movie, and originally we were going to get the Batman Part 2. It's no competition. Marvel have already dug their grave with this one. Nate, if you're talking about us when you say fake fans complaining about a character that was in the comics, I've already given my reason. Marvel were doing this. They had the intention of gender swapping the Thing. Then they ended up saying, okay, we won't gender swap the Thing. We won't gender swap the Silver Surfer. The whole thing with the comics, that's an excuse. They are only using it as an excuse to try to justify what they're doing, but we can all see right through it. Because when do they listen to the comics, or crying out loud? There's all these writers lately, for like the last 10 projects in the MCU, both in movies and shows, they've all said in interviews, and there's a compilation video of this on Twitter, where they all said, we were told not to look at the comics. We were told not to look at the comics, not to look at the comics, not to look at the comics when it came to the story and everything. But all of a sudden, when they want to gender bend someone, they think, okay, let's quickly look at the comics. Let's see if there's something we can say that we gender bent, that we didn't gender bend it, that we basically based it off the other character. We know the inner workings. The inside workings were they were trying to gender bend the Fantastic Four. It did not work, so they ended up doing it here instead. That whole thing where they say, oh, it's in the comics, oh, it's another universe, excuses, because they know people are not going to be happy. They think that they can bypass it this way, the complaints this way, but they can't. We all know better at this point. George Phillips says they just gave Echo a TVMA because they realized it was a shite show, so they needed to sell something. Yeah, that's what I said as well. They needed to sell us on something and make us think that the show had some merit or something worth, like some good selling point, but it didn't have a selling point in the end, and they just decided to say, let's make it rated R and put some Daredevil characters in. That'll make people watch it, when really it was just a shitty show in the end. Oh, damn it, did I just give that away? Well, I think you guys all knew that anyway. Pretty much from that last video I made. What's your score for The Suicide Squad, says Muhammad Yusuf. I think it was a 7 out of 10 I gave it. A high 7 out of 10. Nate says there's gonna be a male Silver Surfer, so everyone chill the F out. When? Because Marvel take absolutely years. Look at Shang-Chi from the first movie. When are we gonna get the sequel to that movie? Sequel to The Eternal, sequel to Black Widow. Is going to be Thunderbolts apparently now, but look how many years it takes for them. So we're going to get a male Silver Surfer, but when? Also, the character was male originally, the Silver Surfer. When you think the Silver Surfer, this is the version that you're supposed to think, the male one, because that's how the character was introduced and created. So why aren't they starting off with the male one, then introducing the female one later, which is what happened in the comics, instead of doing it the other way around? If they'll even be able to do it the other way around, because if this movie doesn't do well, will they even be able to make another Fantastic Four that's worthwhile? At this point, they're just stupid. It's like they know what they're doing. Like I said, it's false. It's fake virtue signaling, where they're trying to make it out like, look, we're standing up for the little guy, we're all about diversity. But then you see what their real actions are like, and it completely contradicts that. They're trying to put on an image, and it's just ridiculous. Spirit Hero says, hey Eric, who do you think is worse, Kevin Feige or Kathleen Kennedy? Kevin Feige hasn't done anything yet where I'm like, where I'm like, you just killed it. Because Kathleen Kennedy is is a person that everyone wants out of Lucasfilm. Kevin Feige, I don't know if they want him out of Marvel yet for some reason or another, but I would say Kathleen Kennedy. Because she screwed up from the beginning, whereas Feige at least had some success at the beginning. Parker says, I'm never subbing to Disney minus again. That's funny. Jess says, who needs to watch a boring Joker sequel when we can watch an awesome action-packed R-rated Craven movie? It's gonna be awesome. I like your sarcasm. Parker says, Deadpool and Blade need to get sold. Yes, but I feel like Deadpool is in good hands as long as Ryan Reynolds is in control of it. And Blade, what you can say about that is that Mahershala Ali at least said no several times when the MCU were writing scripts for him. So at least I feel like he has some creative control to where he's saying to Marvel, no, I'm not acting in that shit. You think I won a second Oscar and I spent my capital on you so I could be in a Blade movie? Do you think I pushed to get that Blade movie made so you can delegate me to a fourth lead and have other characters talk down to me? That was such an insult that Marvel did that to him. Kevin Feige should feel ashamed of himself. But he doesn't. He's clearly deluded. The Book of Dark says, how long before they gender bend James Bond? I think they realize they can't do that. I think they realize they can't do that one. Because they've even talked about making finding a new James Bond. At the time, they're talking about a female one. Now they're not doing that. Now they're saying, don't worry, at some point we're going to cast our James Bond. It looks like it's going to be Aaron Taylor Johnson. But we'll see. The G-Gamer says, is Eternals even going to get a sequel since the first movie bombed? Apparently, the inside rumors that we've heard is that they're not going to. So yeah, hopefully they don't. Because that was just a bad movie. Okay, Jake says Disney is like the EA of the film industry these days. Honestly, I think Disney is kind of like the DCEU now. You know what the DCEU was like when it was in its worst state? With Batman vs. Superman, and then Suicide Squad came out, and then, Joss Whedon's Justice League. I feel like they're kind of in that state right now. People just don't trust... Because people at least went to go see those movies. People just don't trust Marvel anymore. Look at the Marvels. Didn't even make $200 million worldwide, I think. Horrible performance at the box office. One of the worst. No, I think it would be Jane Bond, Jake. I think they would have made a Jane Bond, not Jamie Bond. Yeah, Batman's Gamer just said it up there too, Jane Bond. But they're not going to do that. Yeah, Idris Elba could be a good James Bond, but he is, I think last I checked, I think he is a Muslim, and if you watch his movies, he's not done any physical intimacy scenes. So him being a James Bond, I don't know if that would, align with his viewpoints. But at the same time, it's like I think it's like they're trying to phase that out of James Bond. So who knows? Maybe it could. Yeah, you did say Jane Bond, Batman's Game. I mentioned it. Well, Jess, you did make me laugh. That was funny. Okay. Anyone else got anything else to say about this before we move on to the next story? Because this is like the big story of the live stream. Rohan says, Eric, to be honest, we all want David Zaslav to be fired if he interferes with James Gunn's DC universe, and we are effed. And if he interferes, yeah, then we would be, yeah. They actually put a Fortnite weapon in the new Invincible episode. Oh, really? I still haven't seen those 4 episodes. I need to, and then I'm going to do the Let's Watch on Patreon, where you guys can watch my reaction and my review to Invincible Season 2. Jess says, no, we're good. Alright then, let's move on to the next story. Now, because I've been having a field day with getting names wrong today, I feel like I'm going to get this one wrong too. How am I going to say this? Craig Gillespie. Gillespie or Gillespie? Basically, this guy is in talks to direct Supergirl, James Gunn Supergirl movie for DC Studios. Yes, Book of the Dark, the Pandaverse. That's exactly what that was. Anyway, this director, they want to... I think it is confirmed. Or is he in talks? That's what it says. It says in talks, but I've heard some places say this is our new director. I think it's not official yet. He's in talks to direct... yeah, I saw that Batman's Gamer with James Gunn doing that. But anyway, he's in talks to direct Supergirl for DC Studios. And I was thinking, alright, so who is this director? What has he directed? Because his name didn't ring a bell to me. And I found out that he directed I, Tonya, which is a movie I've not seen. But then he directed a movie that I have seen. And I actually made a 3-way versus video of this movie. And it was not a movie I was particularly fond of. And that movie was Cruella. So, this guy's directed these 2 movies, and now they're trying to give him a big blockbuster and make a movie about Supergirl. Yeah, I don't really know about that. I mean, this kind of thing sounds to me a little bit like what Marvel do when they try to hire cheap talent. It's not as cheap, because this guy's at least got some movies behind his belt. Whereas Marvel are trying to hire people that have no movies or 1 movie, super low budget. So this guy's at least, done some work with movies like this. But I feel like it's a big leap to go to Supergirl right after this. So, I don't know. I haven't seen I, Tonya, but it's a very indie movie. I don't think that movie's going to really, give me an idea as to what he is as a big budget film director. But yeah, the Supergirl movie that we're going to get, James Gunn says that it was supposed to be adapted from the Woman of Tomorrow comic, which was a very feminist comic, but then he goes, it's going to be very loosely based off of that, which means he's going to tell a completely different story, basically. So yeah, I hope they do. I hope they don't do any feminist bullshit with these movies. I'm seriously done with that. How they're trying to say guys are the toxic ones and then the women are just the empowered and the better ones. It's like, just develop them as they have in previous movies. That is all we want. The same way they developed them in the past. Whether it's the Avengers movies or the X-Men movies, just develop the female characters like you always have. No one had a problem with that. So, George Phillips says the directing wasn't the worst part of Cruella. I think it was more the writing. Yes, it was the writing. But I never looked at the directing for it and says, yeah, that's great. Because I think the movie, I think if I remember correctly, it's been a while since I covered it. I think Cruella had, was it a $200 million budget? Let me quickly check. Cruella budget. A $100 to $200 million budget. Knowing Disney, is probably closer to the latter, because they always throw money at stuff that doesn't need it. Yeah, that movie did not look like it was $200 million, but we all know Disney love to throw money, like, extra money at stuff when we don't even know where it goes. So, yeah. Yeah, I think it's hard to say if he's going to do good or not with this, but I'm not sure. I think maybe James Gunn saw something in him, but we'll see, is what I think. So, yeah. Did I scrap my Cruella vs. Joker video? I think I was thinking about it, but then it didn't work out, so I ended up doing I was like, it's different ultimately in the end. So then I did a 3-way video of the 101 Dalmatians live action, the remake, and then the animated, the live action, then the remake, or this live action one. George Phillips says, a friend of mine is obsessed with Cruella, and I have no clue why. Yeah, well, it's a mystery at sometimes, but everyone's got their own preference at the end of the day. So yeah, what do you guys think of this guy directing Supergirl? It's an interesting choice, to be honest with you. Rohan says, Eric, you're overreacting about the Marvel thing. We all know one Marvel capable of pulling some controversial things. I think you messed up the comment a little. It doesn't make sense. Eric, you're overreacting about the Marvel thing. We all know Marvel are capable of pulling some controversial things, doing up projects up, but it doesn't mean it's a bullshit rumor. I said it's not a bullshit rumor. I says that we know what their thought process is at this point. They're seeming to do. it's like they're trying to force. They're thinking it's like whenever they think there's too much guys in a movie, they think that's not good. We got to put women in there, or we got to have the women like talk down to the guys or whatever. It feels like they're trying to play this weird boys versus girls game, and it just doesn't feel natural with the characters when the characters are actually in the movies and shows, and it doesn't work in terms of how they're being adapted. And I says they wanted to gender bend the Thing, that's what they wanted to do, but it turns out they didn't, and now they gender bent another character instead. So they had their eyes on the Thing, then thought, all right, let's move over to another character. Oh, Silver Surfer, we'll gender bend you instead, and we'll see. They'll see how people are just sick of it. I've seen clips of it, The Book of Dog. I've not seen the movies in their entirety. Let's see. Muhammad Yusuf says, I really want to see a Red Hood movie, but it will never happen. Well, in order to have a Red Hood movie, you got to have a good Bat Family movie, where you have your Batman developed, you got your Robin developed, and then your Nightwing developed, and then you get your next Night Robin after that. And then that is where Jason Todd comes in, so you got to kind of do it better in that way. Muhammad Yusuf says, I says. Great grammar, Eric. Did I say I says? Jess says, Eric, you've been hating on the MCU for a long time, but why? I always said I never liked the MCU's humor. I never liked it from the first Avengers onwards. I thought the first Avengers was the maximum of jokes they should do. Then they did the Avengers 2. And then the Russo brothers came in, and I loved what the Russo brothers were doing, and I was like, please do more of this. I want to see more. But then the MCU came in, and I was like, when the Russo brothers were not around, I felt like the MCU were really trying to like just force these jokes in, and now look where it's gotten. It's gotten to even more crazy lengths. They've gotten even worse when it comes to this stuff, and you got to tell them to stop at some point, otherwise they'll get worse. And look at what happened to the jokes, and now look what's happening to the casting. So yeah, they just seem to go even further, go even crazier. Speaking of going crazier, Jake, that is, like I said, your generosity, it just knows no bounds. Oh man, thank you so much for that insane super chat. I love Spirit Hero. He did it again. Jake, oh my god. Ethan's drawing's like, Jake, Eric. Jake, you're joking right now, says Batman's Gamer. A lot of people you never fail to basically get a reaction out of everyone when you do this, Jake. It's always funny. Even me, you get a reaction from. Let's read your question. Have you seen the Supergirl TV show? Thoughts? I only saw an episode or two, and then I stopped watching it. My mum and dad watched it, though. I think my brother and sisters watched some, but there were a lot of CW shows at the time, and I was working as well, and it was hard to keep up. So then eventually I just said, alright, I missed it, so I missed it. I'll watch the crossovers with her, but that's about it. I give credit for giving Katie McGrath a good role. Underrated actress. Katie McGrath. That name sounds familiar, but let me quickly look her up. Katie McGrath. Oh yeah, I've seen her before. What is I know I've seen her in something more than just probably, because it probably wasn't Supergirl, but I've seen her in something else. Was she... Oh, she seems to have been in The Crisis. Yeah, I think I know who you're talking about. But yeah, I have seen her. Okay, that's good if she was a good actress in that. I've not seen Supergirl really, so I can't really comment on that. But that's good that she's an underrated actress and that she did a good job and she did a good role. And then, anyway, now Jake says, anyways, you know what movie gave me horrible nightmares as a kid? War of the Worlds 2005. How did that get a PG-13 rating? By the way, have any pets? Jake. Well, no, I don't have any pets. I have, my auntie had a cat. I've never been good with pets around. I've just never been, I don't know why, I've just never been good with them. But I am getting better. I don't swerve out of the way when I'm walking when a dog is walking near me anymore. I used to always be afraid that I think it's because I'm a bit of a clean freak in certain ways. I don't like having certain messes on me. I don't like when like animals will lick you or lick your clothes. I think it's because I got eczema. I'm always very cautious about, things getting in contact with my skin. And I also get very conscious of when things are on my clothes. So say if dogs lick my clothes or something, I don't like that. And I don't like it when they lick my skin either. I think, but that's probably more down to my extra reasons. But yeah, that's no, I don't have any pets. In terms of nightmares, War of the Worlds 2005, that movie was oddly eerie to me. Like, it had definitely a scary vibe and atmosphere, especially when Tom Cruise was trying to go find his daughter, and then she got taken. Like, just that, all the blood that was around in that area, you know, those bloody vines, and how dark the shots were, beautifully haunting shots in that finale, or in that climax, I should say. Yeah, it was phenomenal. I can see why that would scare you, that movie. But no, that's not the one that scared me. The one that gave me nightmares, well, not really nightmares, but just scared me in the dark, was Insidious, that old woman. I was like, why does that old woman look so freaky? I've seen The Woman in Black, and The Woman in Black is not freaking me out. Why is this one freaking me out? And then I found out it's because that old woman is really an old man that they put in drag and made look like a bride, and that's why it looks so unsettling and unnatural. And it looks more demonic and more wrinkled and wrong. It's because it's not an old woman. They're calling it an old woman, but it's an old man. Then the sequel came out, and they went further into that. But yeah. So yeah, that 2005 movie though, I did like. That's a movie I also like, even though a lot of people don't like it. That's actually a movie a lot of people didn't like, but I really enjoyed it. But thank you, Jake, again for the $140 donation. Seriously, I really appreciate that. Oh, Big Bash has apparently entered the chat. How you doing? Are you at the gym right now, or are you not at the gym? Let's see. I like how Jake goes us to say to everyone, guys, I've got enough money to be safe doing this, but thanks, glad to help. That's always funny. This never gets old, Jake. It never does. I always thought I remember when you did it the first time on my first stream, I was surprised. The second time, I was even more surprised. To this day, I'm still surprised that you're still watching, you're still donating these huge sums, but it means a lot. You really do support the channel in a huge way when you do this, so thank you very, very much. I know you don't really like doing like donations via Patreon or via Streamlabs, so I'll try to do YouTube memberships to where you can donate the sums that you do and get perks, you know, similar perks to what are on Patreon and things. So hopefully I can try to give you back more things as you donate these, you know, very generous sums. So, yeah, because I want to give you more stuff in return. Why do you think I gave you that trailer reaction that you asked? That you said you want to know my thoughts on the trailer? I said I never saw it, and I ended up doing it because I wanted to give you something in return. So, yeah, I'll try to do YouTube memberships in a way where they give badges and icons and stuff, and then I'll try to put my Patreon perks on there, and hopefully when you donate you can get something big in return out of it too. But regardless, thank you very much, Jake. I really appreciate it. I never stop appreciating it. Oh, I like how you guys all greet each other, all greeting Big Bash. Oh, you're not at the gym, you're shopping. You were too young to be watching it, Jake. How old was I when I saw War of the Worlds? When I got around to seeing it? I was 10. So I was quite young as well. But yeah, when I was 3, though, I saw Tim Burton's Batman. When I was 3. I've said this before, I don't know if you guys remember or not, but I was 3 when I saw that. So for me, I was quite brave when it came to watching these movies. And I think I was 7 or 8 when I saw, like, Terminator 2. I had to watch it with my parents, though. My dad, he says he has to be in the room with me and tell me to look away on certain scenes, like when people were licking people. That was such a weird thing in Terminator. But yeah. Oh, you're shopping with your parents. Oh, so that's how you're watching this. Okay, cool. Manola says, hello, Eric. I just joined the stream. Sorry I missed the last one. I was busy last Sunday since my family is religious. Don't worry at all. That's I totally understand. I totally understand if you guys are busy and stuff. Sometimes you can't all be here, so it's okay. But I do love it when you guys are here, though. So it's great to see that you're here. Let's see. Yeah, Zaidan. $210 from Jake. He's super, super generous. And that's not the most he's donated in a single stream either. So, yeah, Jake is truly one of a kind in terms of his donations. I think the only other one that has done donations like that was the Time Shadow. I've got my... I see, it's a good thing I always write these down, these donations, isn't it, on my notes here. The Time Shadow, where is him? Oh no, the Time Shadow asked if I could commission videos for him. He might have done it, but I don't think I wrote it down that the Time Shadow did it. The Time Shadow is the one that said to do commission videos. And I did. And I've got a couple... One that's going to do a commission, which is Adam Grunther, who says he wants me to review The Watchmen show. So I'll be doing that when he does the commissions for that particular perk on my Patreon. And yeah, I've got the Puss in Boots Versus video, which I'm still working on. I just had to take a big pause from all these videos because I got a serious flu and COVID and eczema all at once. So I'm going to try to get back into it. Muhammad Yusuf says, what's your score for Fan 4 Stick? I gave it a 2. I can't remember. Might have been a 2 or a 3 for me. Manola has done a $2 super chat. Have you ever played Final Fantasy VII? No, I haven't, but I do want to, and I've got my Steam Deck here. And I wanted to play it on here, but I've got other games to play first before I start buying more, because we can easily just start buying more, we can easily just start buying more games and not playing the ones that we have. So I beat Ghostbusters, the video game, on this. It was at the beginning of this week, I think I beat it. It was great. Now I'm going back to continuing to play Guardians of the Galaxy on this. But the game gets so repetitive. I just played one level through and I got the hang of the controls again. It's just so repetitive. Really, it is. Okay, so let's move on to the third story, guys. And here is the third story. Now, the third story seems that we're talking about is that apparently Warner Brothers are going to make a Matrix 5. Now, why do I have a picture here? This guy, you might remember this guy. This is a guy called Drew Goddard. Now, you might remember that I brought him up last week on last week's live stream because it was apparently being discussed by Sony that they wanted him and Justin Lin to direct Spider-Man 4 starring Tom Holland. He is one of the directors that Drew Goddard is one of the directors that they wanted. He's in the final 2 that they want to direct Spider-Man 4. And it turns out that, like I said, one of those directors is one of the people behind creating the Netflix Daredevil. And I said it looked like and it looks like Sony have just lost him as director, because it looks like Warner Brothers want him to make The Matrix 5. And yeah, they've hired him, and apparently he's going to write, direct, and produce it. Now, after the absolutely terrible, and I mean terrible, Matrix Resurrections, in fact, if I remember correctly, I put this movie as one of my worst movies of the year at the time. And I was surprised that Warner Brothers even wanted to go back to this franchise after that piece of crap. Due to how terrible that 4th movie was. I mean, seriously, it was so bad that people who hated Matrix 2 and 3 said that this movie was far worse. That's how bad it was. Even the action sucked. It was shockingly bad, because even Matrix, even if you don't like Matrix, there's some good stuff to say about it. One of the things being the action sequences. But this was just so bad that we couldn't even give it good action sequences. But it was shockingly bad, and it proved to me that the Wachowskis have just completely lost it, and they are just terrible storytellers. After 3 movies where they talk about what is the Matrix, and they try to be so philosophical and try to sound smart about it, and they smell their own farts, you'd think that in Matrix 4 they'd be like, alright, that's enough. Let's just go into being let's just go into being a fun action movie now and use the Matrix as our tool, basically, to be really fun. No, instead, they decided that that wasn't enough, and so they made the 4th movie ask the same question that people had been sick of, as what is the Matrix? And the movie became another bullshit philosophical word vomit, which is what it was. And it delayed John Wick 4 from being released, which was so annoying. Now, if the Wachowskis... Now, let me tell you my opinion on this. I don't think this is a bad idea, personally, that they're going to make The Matrix 5. Because I think there is stuff that you can do with it. Now, if the Wachowskis were going to write and direct this, I would have problems with it immediately. I would say just forget about it. But seeing as the Wachowskis are only producing it, seems to imply that Warner Brothers don't want them to helm the 5th movie and have pushed them off to the side. And I'm glad. They bloody deserve to be pushed off to the side after that frickin' insult. I think it was one of them that actually directed the last one. And yeah, should be frickin' ashamed of themselves for making that piece of crap and charging people to see it. I'm glad that movie got released. Resurrections got released day and date on HBO Max and in theaters, because people didn't have to go to theaters to watch it. I used a VPN and just watched it on HBO Max. And yeah, honestly, it's it I'm actually kind of like a loss for words talking about this because it was just that bad. But yeah, it was just such a bloody awful movie, and it made me disgusted at the Wachowskis for essentially. I felt like they ripped us off because there's a scene in the movie where they're trying to say that our beloved company Warner Bros. Wants us to make a sequel to the original game they were trying to say at the time in that movie. But the thing is, it's like you're trying to say that Warner Brothers forced you. They said they're going to make the movie with or without you. So you decided to make this piece of shit that we all had to pay for. If I had to pay to see this in theaters, I would have been pissed off. So I'm glad I didn't have to. But yeah, the movie was a complete garbage fire. Complete crap. And it proved to me that the Wachowskis, this was their last chance. This is what put them on the map. And it proved to me that they couldn't direct for shit at this point. That they just completely lost it. And they suck. So I'm glad that they got other people to come in now. Now, it seems that the Wachowskis are only going to be producing it. So it seems that, like I said, Warner Brothers don't want them to helm the fifth movie and have pushed them off to the side. I think you can do more with a Matrix movie and a Matrix sequel, but not with the Wachowskis at the helm. So I'm glad that they are ignoring them, and I'm very interested to see what someone else can do with the Matrix. And I think that Drew Goddard is an interesting choice to tackle this. He's not the best choice, but he's an interesting choice. So let's see what he does. And I'm glad that he's writing it and the Wachowskis are not. But here's hoping he brings back Morpheus and Agent Smith, or if not Agent Smith, and I don't mean that new actor they got for Agent Smith, I mean Hugo Weaving. But if they can't do that, then at least create another new, memorable villain. Yeah, Fireboy, but I think it would be interesting to take the Matrix and, like, you know, use the world of the Matrix to do great action sequences. So if they made a Matrix movie that was basically like John Wick, I would love that. Where they use the environment of the Matrix and the physics of the Matrix to just do these great action sequences. And they tried to turn Trinity into the one as well, which was just weird. Yeah. So what do you guys think of this then? Alright, fine, I'll get that picture out of here. I don't know. There's nothing wrong really with a picture. Yeah, he did, Jess. He did do the voice of Megatron. I think he didn't in the later movies, though. Like, as they got, you know, I think after the first three, I think he then didn't do it. I think they got someone else after that, maybe. Yeah, Matrix 4 did leave a bad taste. Big Bash, only one you saw was the first? Well, then you're the lucky one. But I did enjoy parts of 2 and 3. I didn't think 2 and 3 were terrible, like a lot of people did. I thought there was good stuff in them. But the pacing, particularly in the second movie, was just completely off. And that weird sex cave thing, that was just like, why is that even here? So weird. So yeah, what do you guys think then of this? By the way, guys, I will be leaving in about 10-15 minutes. So if you got any super chats or any questions you really want to put out there, to let me know, and I'll be able to answer them. But yeah, let's first talk about this. A lot of you seem to think Matrix 4 suck. Jess says no more Matrix movies, please. Parker CS says only Matrix and Animatrix were good. I still haven't seen Animatrix. I wanted to see it when I was a kid, but I never have. I'll try to see it at some point. The G Gamer says, is there a director you used to love but now don't because of their track record of movies? Yeah, the Wachowskis. They're a big one. Tim Burton is another one. The Beetlejuice 2 is Tim Burton's, is also Tim, just like the Matrix 4 was the Wachowskis' last chance because they were making a movie to what made them a success in the first place. That's the same thing with Tim Burton. Beetlejuice made him the success that he is, and if he can't succeed with Beetlejuice 2, then at that point he's just completely lost it. George Phillips says, are you going to watch Abigail and Tales of the Empire? Tales of the Empire? Heck yes. That trailer looks amazing, especially if you watch the Clone Wars. And they got some blood in there, which I found new. That was new. We haven't seen blood in the Clone Wars like that. We've seen bruises and maybe like a little injury, a red injury, but we've never seen blood like drip from someone's nose and fall to the floor. So that's great. I can't wait to see it. It's going to be so good. So smart to say Tales from the Jedi, which was season 1, and to have season 2 be Tales of the Empire. That is such a smart thing to do. But, yeah, damn it, I'm starting to feel really hungry, like this empty pit in my stomach. I haven't felt that in a while in these streams. But, yeah. Maybe, Rehan. I haven't seen Pacific Rim in years, though, since it came out. But yeah, I think it's interesting that they're gonna. I'm glad they're gonna make another Matrix movie just so we can get a story from someone else. Maybe someone else who's hungry to tell a great story. Hey Cole, it's great to see you arrived in time because I am gonna end the stream in about 15 minutes. So if you've got any, like I said, any questions that you want to ask, or any super chats that you want to do to support the channel or anything, do them in the next 10 minutes because that's when I'm gonna leave. Pick your poison. Jurassic World. You guys are so cruel to me sometimes. I mean, I love you, but sometimes I think you guys have fun in making me squirm. The G Gamer says, pick your poison. Jurassic World Dominion or Rise of Skywalker. I did not like either of those movies, as you could imagine. So yeah, I would say Rise of Skywalker was worse. But I really didn't like Jurassic World 3. Spirit Hero says, do you have a favourite underrated actor, Eric? Yes, the actor that I think is underrated is Dan Stevens. He was in a movie called The Guest, which is where I first saw him. And he also played the Beast in the live-action Beauty and the Beast. He didn't do that great, but to be honest, no one did in that movie. And he's also in the new Godzilla X Kong, and that's because the guy that made The Guest hired Dan Stevens, and now he brought him in here as well. So I've been waiting for him to get more movie roles, but Hollywood, for some reason, I've not picked him up for some reason. So I'm really hoping he does get, success, because I want to see him in more stuff. He's a very good actor. Do you guys hear my voice just kind of like needs clearing a lot? That happens a lot when I'm trying to do voiceovers, and I run out of breath so quick. But the Book of Dark said Inception reminded me of The Matrix. Yeah, that's because Christopher Nolan got a lot of inspiration from The Matrix, from Dark City, and I think an anime was in there as well, I think. He got a lot of information from movies when he made Inception. It wasn't something that he just did originally on his own. He was inspired by a lot of things. George Phillips says, I think McKenna Grace is really underrated. She is a good actress too. She was in Annabelle 3. She was in Ghostbusters, of course. And she was also in Young Sheldon as well. She was funny in Young Sheldon. Quite dark where they take her character though, which you did not expect. Muhammad Yusuf says, Eric, what's your cons with Shazam? The first movie. I would advise you to go to my Versus video because I can't remember what my cons are. I have to really think about it. But that's why I got my Versus videos there, so you guys can refer to those if you want to know my detailed thoughts of the movie. Yep, I would say that... I don't say that... One of you is saying that... One of you says, who is it? Parker says that Sam Raimi needs to stay far away from both Disney and Sony. He doesn't need to stay away from them. They just need to stay far away from him and give him creative control. He's a very good director. Every movie he's made has got great reviews, except for Spider-Man 3. That should tell you something, because Sony interfered with that. And Doctor Strange: The Multiverse of Madness, again, that should tell you something, because Sony interfered with that, and he never had control with that movie from the very beginning. So, yeah. They really need to just stay out of his way and let him pick a movie and let him pick the people he wants to write the script and then let him make it. Rehan says, by the way, I appreciate your support for Palestine on your Instagram stories. Yeah, I've been getting very carried away with sharing that on Instagram, but you just see these things. They just pop up on your home screen or on your home page or on your search as you're searching through stuff, and you see that stuff, and it's just shocking and sad to see. It really is. Sony intervened with Multiverse of Madness. Sony didn't. Disney did. Marvel. Disney Marvel. They reshot the movie. They had to write the script. They got the writer to write the script in 2 weeks. Then they had to rewrite it on set. And then they had to pick at it in other ways. It was just a mess of a production. It really was. And the movie cost $300 million, we found out as well. No, sorry, $350 million. They said $250, but it really cost $350. And that's not including marketing. Jake says, what's a movie you wish you got to see in theaters? Oh, yeah, we got a lot of those. When I was younger, I always said I wish I could have seen this movie and this movie in theaters. I wish I could have seen the Lord of the Rings movies in the cinema. I did see the first one, but I remember when I was young, I found it quite boring. I was only 6. And 3-hour movies were new to me. I've never sat through a 3-hour movie, especially when you have a half hour of adverts and trailers. It was a new experience for me, and I thought the movie was getting boring, and I really wanted to see the first Harry Potter at the time, so Yeah, but we didn't get to see Lord of the Rings 2 and 3, which is a shame because I thought those looked really cool and I really wanted to see those. So those are ones I wanted to see. Other movies wish I could see, probably the first X-Men, because I've seen every X-Men movie in the theaters since then. Take care, Spirit Hero. Great to see you here. But yeah, I really wish I could have seen the first X-Men cinemas, but I think I was too young. I was only 4 or 5 at the time. And my mum and dad, they saw it. But I saw every X-Men movie in the theater after that, except for X-Men Origins Wolverine. Yeah. And New Mutants. I don't think I saw New Mutants in the theater either. Okay, 7 minutes and then, 10 minutes we'll say, and then I'm going to end the stream. So like I said, if you've got any super chats you wanted to donate or support the channel with or ask any questions with, by all means, this is the last 10 minutes to do so. And yeah, I think no one's out talking about the Matrix anymore, so we can just go to the Q&A session. George Phillips, is there an actor or actresses you would want to see play a horror movie killer? Yeah, put Brie Larson in a horror movie where she kills people. I think she... Okay, that was just a bad joke. It's, I don't know. I don't really think about that normally. Take care, Fireboy. I don't really think of that normally. You just let the castings happen and then you judge it as it happens. But I never thought of that. That's a very specific thing, that is. Let's see. Muhammad Yusuf says, I didn't watch Puss in Boots The Last Witch. Should I? Yes, you should watch it. It's a very good movie. I really enjoyed it. Saeed says, yeah, I saw the Instagram post and I couldn't watch them. It's so disturbing. It really is. Sometimes I just see the first few seconds, then I just share it because it is so hard to watch. The recent one where you see 3 children, like very little kids, like 4 or 5. One of them is talking about how he cut his finger because of the bombings and all that. And how a shard of glass got into him. And they're both talking, and they're just so cute, and how they're both talking about how he got this cut. And you can see it's a fresh cut. He's wiping it, and quite a lot is just spreading through his finger as he's doing that. And the other kids are looking at it and talking and it's just so sad to see. And the crazies out there trying to say, "Oh no, it's fine." And then and America keeps funding it. It's like, oh, it's just a crazy, messed up world, is what it is. But hey, America was founded on basically white ethnically cleansing the Indians to steal America from them, and Americans were let in because the Red Indians gave them passage as refugees. They said, "Here, come, you can come." And then what do those Americans who are refugees did at the time? They came in and just killed all the Red Indians, and now it looks like they're paying Israel to basically do the same thing to Palestine. Because if you read up in history, Palestine actually helped the Jews and in the past in history, and now look what's happened. How they're repaying that thanks. The same way how America did when they stole the Americans did when they stole America when they were refugees. Jess says, read my comment on the Black Widow villain. Okay, I'll find it. Post it again, actually, because I've got quite a lot of comments here I seem to need to read. Downturn Owl Excitement. I hope Suicide Squad should get taken down from PlayStation stores because of the disrespect to Kevin Conroy's Batman and the rest of the league. No, keep it up, and let's look at those numbers continue to decline. That serves them right. Look at those Steam numbers. They keep going down all the time. They only had like 200 players until the Joker DLC came, and now it's gone to like, it went up to like, was it 2,000? Now it's gone to like near 1,000. And that's crappy numbers for something like this. So it's just going to continue to get worse. Velka, great to see you again. I've already answered one of your questions. I don't think I greeted you, though, so I'm greeting you now. Godzilla -1. The main character is a soldier that has PTSD about his friends dying, so the character is more complex. So how do you do the MonsterVerse human characters more likable? I think it's making it more intimate. Maybe have Godzilla and Kong. This is what I was thinking recently. I was thinking I would like for the third movie to be Godzilla and Kong, maybe mind-controlled, maybe going back to their feral roots, and they both start destroying the city. And then the governments have to come in, and the army has to come in and try to fight Godzilla and Kong with weapons and everything. That would be interesting, to have them both be the villains. So I'd like to see that. That would be cool to see in a third movie. Yeah, Connor, it did. Puss in Boots 2 had no reason to be as good as it was, but it did. Gregory, hi. No, I've not seen Dune 2 yet. Like I said, I'm recovering still. I'm getting better, so hopefully this upcoming week I'll be able to watch it, and I'll be able to get back to work on my Versus videos, because I can only do very small voiceover segments right now. Because I keep losing my voice when I try to do my voiceover talk, the way I talk in my voiceovers, so I'm still having to recover. The G-Gamer, last question before I head out to the beach. Thoughts on remakes in general? It's usually done for a cash grab, but if you can do it in a way which feels like it's new, like say The Thing, for example, you know, The Thing from the 80s, that was a remake. Look how good that was. So there are remakes that can work, but they just don't do them as much. They just do the lazy versions of remakes. So they need to put more thought into it. And even the Evil Dead remake I liked, the 2013 one. What are your thoughts on Smallville Season 9? I liked it, Rohan. But still, I do think that the first 7 seasons were better because they had Lex Luthor and Lionel Luthor in it, like, proper. Lionel did come back in Season 9 or 10 a little bit. And it was a different alternate universe version of him, which is interesting. But yeah. Comic Book King says, sup, great to see you here, buddy. Eric, what's your rating for Thor? I think I gave it a high 6 or a low 7, the first one. Muhammad Yusuf says, so funny that our animated villain is better than 80% of Marvel villains. Yeah, it is. Scarier than 100% of Marvel villains too. The big bad wolf. George Phillips, have you watched Barbie? I watched 40 minutes and turned it off as soon as I heard reality challenged. Is that actually a line in there? That sounds silly. No, I haven't seen Barbie. I'm glad people like it who like it, but it's not for me. It doesn't look like a movie that's for me. But I'm glad they took that and they didn't put that commentary in, say, a Batman movie or something. They did it the right way, which is take it and put it in a movie like Barbie. That's where you put that commentary. Not in male-led franchise movies that are meant to be having a completely different discussion. And they end up putting conversations like that in there. It's like, why is that even there? Okay, I'm heading out in 5 minutes, everyone. Elite says, when are you going to watch the last 4 episodes of Invincible? When I feel better. Like I said, my energy levels keep just shooting down right now. I will watch it, and the good thing is I was going to watch it weekly, which I didn't want to do, but I was going to do it for you guys on Patreon. However, now that all 4 episodes have come out, I can just binge them all in one day and record myself all in one day, and then start editing those and releasing them gradually on Patreon. So that's what I'll do. I'm looking forward to seeing it. Well, I'm not looking forward because we took too much of a break. I've kind of forgotten what it feels like to look forward to it. I was looking forward to it first. But yeah, we'll see what happens. But yeah, I hope they don't mess around with that release schedule, because they've been messing around. That Invincible release schedule is the worst, like I said. The worst I've ever seen. Evil Dead 2013 versus Rise versus video. I thought about it and didn't get around to it at the time because I was working on other versus videos, but I'd say the 2013 movie was better. Rise felt a bit anticlimactic, and I think that's because it didn't seem like a streaming movie, which I give it credit for, but it was meant to be a streaming movie on HBO Max, but then they ended up putting it in theaters. And my theater had the speakers on way too loud when I was watching the movie that I was trying to block my ears out a bit by putting my hat over my ears. Jake says, what's a show you wish lasted longer? That's a very good question. A very good question. A show that I wish lasted longer. Sherlock. I wish that would have gone on for longer. I also wish Avatar would have gone on for longer. You know, The Last Airbender. But it ended at the perfect place. It ended at the perfect place, but it's like you wanted to see more from those characters, you know. So that's a show I wish also could have gone on longer. So yeah, I'm sure there might be another one, but I can't think of it right now because we've seen so many shows, haven't we, in our times. I remember I didn't want Smallville to end when it ended. It was sad when it did, because it became such a thing for 10 years that you're used to. Gregory, where is your comment? I can't see your comment. I did read one of your older comments. I don't know if that's the one you're referring to. Old Teen Titans. What about the old Teen Titans? I think they're awesome. Yeah, Rehan, it does definitely feel like they're trying to force and on the female empowerment message in these Marvel movies and projects, and it's not good. Yeah. So I have noticed that. Big Bash, I liked Benton Alien for seasons 1 and 2. Season 3, it felt like the writing got bad, and that's because they wanted to basically write the character. I'm going to leave in 2 minutes, by the way, now, guys, so just letting you know. The reason the writing got bad in those seasons, later seasons, the reason it got bad in those later seasons, the writing, is because Warner Brothers, or was it Cartoon Network, they basically says, make Ben more immature like he was in Ben 10 when he was younger. So they did, and they pretty much screwed up the lore from that point onwards. I didn't like it. Ben was so immature. I liked that he was mature, and they made him immature and made it just stupid, and the characters fell off. Reign Supreme says, hey Eric, it's my birthday today, so I'm a bit late. Oh, happy birthday. But in the Tales of the Empire, what episode would you like to see? I want to see one about General Grievous. It looks like it's all one big story this time, the Tale of the Empire thing, but I hope there's an episode in there about Darth Vader. Hopefully something we see his perspective. What a miserable day is like living as Darth Vader, you know, where you got no one and you're on your own and you have all this hate. I would love to see that. I wish they would have done that in the Obi-Wan show, but they didn't. So it's pathetic. Jess says, it would be funny if I did an April Fool's video on that day. I have always thought of an April Fool's video that I wanted to do, but I've always gotten so busy with other videos. So one day I will try to do an April Fool's video, but I want to make it a good one, not just the typical one that a lot of people do, which is where they get you rickrolled with that stupid music video. So yeah, okay, 1 minute, guys. If you got any super chats you want to do, any questions you want to ask me, if you want to get it up at the top of the pile, that's why the super chats are there, or Streamlabs chats are there. So yeah, I got to leave in one, maybe 2 minutes. So the Ninder, assuming you did see Puss in Boots: The Last Wish back in 2022, where do you think it would have placed on your best of list? Accelerate is one of my favorites too, Big Bash. I love Diamond Hand as well. An upgrade. Getting out of focus. If I had to, I don't know. I'd have to look at my top 5 list. I'd have to look at my top 5 list again to know what I would have done it. The Ninder. So I'm sorry. Ask me that question again on the next stream. And let me know what my list was, because I can't remember right now. It's hard to remember on a live stream, spur of the moment. Especially at the end when you're trying to get to everyone's questions. Oh, George Phillips, yes, a show you wish didn't end would be the old Teen Titans show. Yes, that's one I was thinking of. That's one I wish never would have ended the way it did. So yeah, that's another one. I'm glad you remind me of that. Yes, Titans, definitely. Ripjaws to me is so underrated. Yeah, but Ripjaws was always had a big liability. Him and Grey Matter were a big liability because Ripjaws had to be around water. If he wasn't, he was in trouble. Okay, guys, I'm going to have to end the stream now. My voice is gone. The pit in my stomach is really killing me, and I feel like my cold is starting to weigh on me again now. So, thank you very much for your donations, for your super chats. All of you, thank you very much. Thanks as well, as always, to Jake for the super generous donations. I always appreciate it. You guys are the best. I am one of the luckiest YouTubers ever to have great viewers like you. As always, head over to my Patreon if you want to see get more video content and more perks, and if you want to help support the channel in additional ways. That's how I can make my channel like a full-time commitment and a full-time job, which is what the goal is ultimately. So thank you very much, everyone. I really appreciate everything, and I always enjoy these live streams. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch all of you in the next live stream. Take care.